Welcome to Good Morning Hospitality, your one-stop shop for the latest news, noteworthy trends, and thought-provoking discussions across the industry. From hotels to short-term rentals to all things travel and hospitality, you'll find each episode equips you with the information that you need to start your week. Join us on Good Morning Hospitality every Wednesday, wherever you get your podcasts. Good morning.
Good morning, Sarah.
Oh my goodness. It's good to see you.
It's good to see you. I just saw you 2 days ago,
person.
but it feels like a month ago. Why did we see each other, Sarah? What were we doing?
Why? Well, we were actually speaking at a conference. Our friends over at Select Registry ended up having us come, and we got to lead pretty much half of a day of content. And I got a chance to speak. We spoke together. We did kind of a breakout together. Steve had a chance to speak. It was so cool to kind of get to tag team on that and talking all about, elevated customer service standards, the future of hospitality, all sorts of things, travel trends, who's traveling. It was a good time. And I mean, the icing on the cake, getting to hang out with you in person, because that never happens.
See? No, and especially on the West Coast. So for listeners, it was great. The one thing I liked about this conference, the Select Registry, which I learned a lot, was like how hands-on these owner operators are. And we talk about passionate hospitality people. We never really talk about like the bed and breakfast and like historic inns that these people are running. And there's so many cool ideas that they were doing. I still remember the company that, I forgot where they're from. They're in Washington, but every time somebody checks in, they're like Asian inspired. You hit a gong when somebody checks in, and they
gong in and you're gong out.
Yeah, I love that. And then if you're like a repeat guest of, I think they said 5 times, they plant a tree in your honor on their property, and they name the tree after you. Like, how cool are these things? Like, you can come back and have so many unique ideas from all of these different people that are really working on their craft every single day.
Yeah, that I think, and for me, I mean, it's always great when you're able to talk with fellow hoteliers, and whether they've got a bigger property, smaller property, independent, whatever. But I feel, and I think pretty much most of us can agree, generally, the smaller and the more independent a property is, whether it is a boutique hotel, an inn, a bed and breakfast, they can be more nimble. Obviously, there's challenges to that as well too, but nimble in the creativity, in being able to craft a highly unique guest experience, which is what we want, right? I mean, like, how cool is it to go to a place and be inspired because they're like, that is neat. Like, I just gonged in and gonged out. Everybody that goes to that property will talk about that. We're talking
about it now. So for me, that's what I think was cool about this conference, was I've never really thought about them much, because you always hear about short-term rentals and Airbnb and then the big hotels and boutique hotels, but not bed and breakfast and inns. But I think they're going to be like a new thing, not new because people have been doing it for 100 years, but I think they're going to be a new wave, and people will be looking at them for what to do to make unique things, because that's what travelers want. We talk about all the time. How can you make your property unique, memorable? And as I was saying in the speech, if there's no memory, there is no loyalty. You still remember. You see? Good.
I do. But yeah, it was so cool to just hear everybody. I think the parts that I love the most, and maybe you agree with this, Steve, is when the different owners they stood up and they shared what they were doing, how they were crafting their experience, or like tapping into the local destination and bringing that alive into their property, or even working with local businesses, be it like local chocolatiers or, there's soap
coffee producers. Everything.
By the way, that particular property, the gong in and gong out, she stopped me afterwards, like outside. And I don't think you heard this, but she's like, we also have this other cool thing. She's like, but I didn't want to take up too much time talking, but she's like, we actually have a soap menu. And so they work with a local company, and they've created all these different scents of soap. So after you gong in, they actually like put up a tray with different soaps that you can choose your soap for your stay. Like, how cute is that?
Yeah, well, we gotta remember the name of the property. Do you remember the name? We gotta give them a shout out here.
No, but it is up in upstate, Washington. Yeah.
Walla
So
Walla, Washington. I remember.
yes, Walla Walla, Washington. Okay, we'll find that and like
We'll
put
find them. But yeah, I
we
like it.
will.
I like the uniqueness. I like what they're doing. They put passion into it, and they were all proud to stand up and talk about their properties. There was
They
not
were.
anyone there that was like, "Oh, we're not doing something too well." And if they all wanted to leave with some knowledge. So
Yeah.
good work, everyone out there in the bed and breakfast and historic ends of the country. Proud of what you're doing. Keep pushing.
Yeah. No, it was definitely very cool. Very, very cool. Well, why don't
So
we
we
go
were
ahead?
traveling. Now we're all back home. Listeners and
Yes.
viewers, where are you watching from? We want to make sure that we say good morning to you. So give us a comment here of where you're watching from, and we'll give you a shout out here live for
Good
everybody.
morning or afternoon, depending on
Or
where
afternoon.
you are in the world. So yeah, let us know. And we're gonna come back to this because of the two of us, the one that's always doing the heavy duty travel is this person right over here. But Steve had an opportunity to travel for work. So we're definitely gonna get his
We're gonna talk
insights.
about that. It was rough, but
We're gonna talk. Whoa, whoa, calm down, Steve.
I need private jet status moving forward. That's gonna be in my contract.
Oh my gosh. All right. We'll definitely talk about more of that in just a bit. But let's talk about what's going on with some hotels.
Let's
So
do it.
Choice Hotels, they just did their recent earnings report. And out of that came 7 trends, as well as this catchphrase, which is revenue intense, which is cool. So what we Choice basically is, and us, I mean, they're doubling down on higher end and extended stay hotels, and it's really kind of pursuing this growth beyond the traditional roadside motel routes, which really interesting, especially when you know the backstory of Choice and the type of properties that they've had before. But just on Monday, their executives outlined this sort of expansion strategy that was really centered on urban markets and longer term stays. And then what they want to do is they want to shift their hotel portfolio to more, and this is the catchphrase, revenue intense properties. And they use that phrase, apparently revenue intense, 5 times in the middle of this. Which is interesting. But what do you think about this, Steve?
I think it's what we've been seeing. Right? We've talked about it a lot, that
Yeah.
more and more companies are getting into this extended stay area. And if you can make
Mhm.
it nice enough to where you kind of feel like you have enough space and it's a good value, that's what people are wanting when they're traveling, because they're looking to save when they are traveling. We've talked
Yeah.
about that. It's getting expensive to go places. We talked about the rise of the $1,000 hotel rooms. But if you can
Yes.
stay at a place like this, and they can increase that revenue by making them more revenue intense and get more of the 175, 180, 200, 220 a night because they have more space, a place to work from, a place to cook from. These are things that travelers are looking for. Like our friends on the Monday show for short-term rentals blew up because it was a good value. And I think that you're seeing this in the extended stay. And like they said, they were known for kind of like the more affordable, we'll say, motel stays.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now
Yeah.
they're pushing their product up, and they're saying, I think their Woodbridge product, which is probably like one of their top products, is becoming most popular because it has that
Mhm.
mix of customers that seek it out. They know that brand. They know that they're going to get taken care of. So I'm excited to see what this company does, especially if they start pushing into like that 3-star level that they're chasing.
Yeah, it's cool. So the 7 sort of key trends that are happening that they kind of touched on that is actually benefiting them. I'll kind of go through a couple. One is that extended stay properties are a major focus. So it is obviously like it's a big part of the business. It's also what a lot of people are looking for.
Yep,
Business travel showing signs of business travel is recovering.
it is.
Absolutely.
Yep.
For those of us that get out there on the road, absolutely. I mean, we see it.
Yeah, just at the conference we were at, it was full with different conferences going on. So.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actually, interesting that you mentioned that, because even when I was in San Antonio at the hospitality show, there were at least 2 or 3 other conferences happening, and
People are going.
not just like, oh, it's 100-person conference. Like these were like hundreds of people.
Yes.
So yeah, it was wild. Infrastructure spending is driving demand. So
Manufacturing. So people building new factories and kind of middle of the country, they need people to stay places. I like this one. We talked about the next one, live tourism. So
Yes,
the
live
sports
tourism.
and entertainment. We talked about Taylor Swift effect as she's
Yeah.
traveling around the country and renting out entire Holiday Inns.
Yeah. No,
Mhm.
it's so true. It's so true. So yeah, there's a lot going on with that. And then they says here the company is actually writing demographic tailwinds. So basically, as an aging population with more wealth, they are prioritizing travel. So kind of appealing to the older demographic,
Yep,
which is
and look,
great.
their net profit was up 15%, so they're doing something right. They're up $105 million this quarter,
Mhm.
and they're gonna continue to push. I really think if you're in that extended stay and you give a good product, people will seek you out.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, definitely. And then continued strength with road trips. We talk about this a lot. I feel like I've been talking about road trips for years now, but I mean, it is a great option for families,
Mhm.
for maybe even like younger travelers, for people that just want to travel in a different way, and there is so much to explore on the road. So yeah, that's a very big part of the travel pie, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. I think that they will continue to push. So I've stayed in a Woodfield a long time ago. I have to go check it out again and
Oh
just make
yeah,
sure I
I
understand
I
all
never
those.
have. Or what
Yeah.
is it? Oh, it's yeah, no, I actually have not. I have not. And then American interest in travel has remained high in above the 2019 levels. So yeah, I think we can all agree that in recent years the shift for prioritizing travel happened and has stayed. I mean,
Yep.
people realize that that's what they want to do, which is great news for all of us.
Yeah. I was took 4 flights and all those flights were sold out, every seat taken. So people are traveling.
Yeah, people are definitely traveling. So, very optimistic, very cool to see what's going on with Choice. And yeah, always a little bit interesting to see. And I like that sort of phrase, that revenue intense. So
Dive into that slogan a little bit more, see what they were meaning by that.
yeah, 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 definitely. Cool. Well, moving on, let's shift over to Las Vegas.
Let's do it.
This is kind of cool. I wanted to hear your thoughts on this, Steve. This is totally like your wheelhouse. So, Netflix themed restaurant is coming to MGM Grand in Las Vegas. So, they're going to be doing this Netflix themed restaurant, and travelers are going to be able to order off the menu inspired by some of the big shows like Bridgerton and Stranger Things and Squid Games. And it's going to be pretty interesting. What are your thoughts on this?
I love it, right? Because when you're watching TV, we see people watch a show, they get inspired, they wanna go travel to that place, right? We see it with, like,
Mhm.
Emily in Paris, right? My
Yeah.
wife just watched the whole thing. I watched with her too. I haven't got to finish the last 4
Oh
episodes,
wow,
but
you watched the most recent season?
yeah, I haven't finished the last 4 episodes, so don't ruin it for me out there,
I,
people. I'm into it
I
now.
haven't seen it. Oh, it is
So
good. It is
it's
good. I do
good.
watch it. It's
But
like,
people are looking for the restaurant that she goes to, and they're visiting those locations, and they're
mhm,
going to these things. So this is an interesting way because these shows like Bridgerton and Stranger Things and Squid Game don't have locations that you can really go to. And
yeah,
so now you can dine, I guess, with it. So I'm curious to see how they intertwine the menu, because this could go really corny very quickly, or they can be really cool experience. Like when you get to Universal Studios and you're at the Harry Potter world, like you feel like you're in
you're
Harry
in.
Potter's land.
Yeah, you do.
So I'm curious to see how far they take this versus like, oh, here's the Squid Game cocktail and it has, some things or colors and it's not really part of the show. So I'm curious to
Yeah.
see how they can make it unique for each of these. But I love it because I think that people, well, again, want experiences. They want these things. Like a Saved by the Bell cafe opened up here. So Saved by the Bell for the younger
Yeah.
ones, the show from the 90s is here in Miami, and you can go hang out
Oh,
at Saved by the Bell. And then they
oh
had
my
one
gosh.
for the
Yeah, it's a
Golden
pop-up,
Girls.
right?
Yeah, so they had the Golden Girls
Yeah.
one pop up. Sold out, sold out. So people really want those fun things. So if they can do a good job, get some cool pictures, I think that they're going to do well.
Oh, that's so funny. We had the Saved by the Bell pop-up. It was funny because it's actually not very far from my apartment, but I think that happened in like 2019
Yeah,
here. So
yeah.
finally
And
made it to Miami.
I see Paul Manzi. Good to see you, man. So experiential is not just about travel. Bring it into the restaurant space. Seems like an interesting prospect. If it can work anywhere, Vegas feels like the right destinations. I agree with you, Paul.
Oh, totally.
They've got the casino money to put behind some of these cool things. So hopefully they'll make it really over the top and fun and not just the little menu add on.
Yeah, no, I think, I mean, people want that. Like, for all of us that have experience, and when it's done well, and I trust that they will absolutely do it well and in an elevated way that people get into it.
Yeah,
People
because you see some of
really.
the ones. Have you seen some of the fails that people have? Like where it's like they create a Bridgerton party and then they show up and it's like terrible. Have you seen those like big
No, I
fails
haven't
on
seen
social
any
media?
fails. I've seen ones where people go all
No,
out.
I love it where they like it's a complete failure. Like
Oh.
because like people are looking for quick bucks, so they make a Eventbrite event and it's all AI images and it looks amazing, and then they get there and it's like, what happened here? It's like
Oh,
Party City putting up a
no.
banner and like paper plates.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I have not seen
I'll have to
that.
send you some
Okay.
of those. Those I don't love them, but it just makes me smile. Like
Yeah, I don't.
they tried hard. They just to not deliver.
Oh my gosh, that's funny. But cool, and no better place than Las Vegas to do that again because they get the people are coming there. People want the experiences, and it's fun. I mean, you look at
Yeah,
the
cool one.
casinos;
A
they're all
cool one I
themed.
think would be like a Sopranos, like an Italian restaurant style, and you have that whole vibe going on in there, and the servers
Okay,
are
all
bringing the
right.
accent and have that vibe that something dangerous could be happening in that
You
restaurant.
you walk in and you're like, okay,
Hey,
where are?
hey, yo, Paulie,
Hey,
with the meatballs and the gabagool.
oh my god. I can't. Oh my god, so much I could say about that, but I won't.
Good.
But yeah, I mean, that's a great one. That is a really good
Hmm.
example. So yeah, so cool to see what's going to be going on there, and we'll see how the people respond to it. Which my guess is they will
I think they'll
respond very
do well.
positively. Totally. All right, shifting our talk to travel. So Thanksgiving's coming up.
Wow, fast.
Yeah, real fast. I hope you're already starting to cook your turkeys. Uh, so some top destinations that they have recently come out as far as U.S. travelers that they're going to be kind of looking at between Thanksgiving and New Year's. So Thanksgiving is the unofficial start of the holiday season, and more than 50% of Americans are going to be traveling for the holidays this year. And then Trivago actually released some data that they found as far as like where people are going to and what they're looking at. So one of the big things is they found that a lot of travelers are looking to go to tropical destinations. Not a surprise, places like Cancun, Orlando, Miami. So everybody wants to go visit Steve, is what Trivago found out. They're like, hey, we
Come
gotta
on
go see
down.
Steve.
Come on down, everyone. You're all welcome down here in Miami.
Yeah, exactly. And so, solo travel also, which interesting because Steve talked about that in his presentation on Monday.
Yep.
So a lot of people looking for independent adventures and opting for urban places like New York, London over nature-based destinations. It's cold, that's why. I think that
Yes.
makes sense.
Yeah, it's more. It's
Um,
fun. Be around more people, right? So that's what we learned about solo travelers. And when I was talking, was that they're going to travel, see some cool
yeah,
things, but have some kind of community that they can be around.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. For sure. So, and then there were some interesting destinations that really had were rates were just lower than what they have been in in the other times of the year. So specifically over the Thanksgiving time period from like November 27th through December 1st, you've got like Las Vegas, it's like almost 75% cheaper. New York, London, people are saving like 40% by going there. Cancun, always great. I will be there in December-ish.
Hmm.
Uh, New Orleans, Orlando, Miami, Panama City Beach. I always laugh because I
Spring
did
break. Yeah.
I spring break. Oh gosh. Oh, Club La Vila for those that know.
Yep.
Um,
I was there.
like, same. Lake Buena Vista and then Chicago. So all of these, I mean, these are some destinations that a lot of us know, but and it's not limited to that, but this is the time to get some to travel where prices might not be as high for those destinations because a lot of people are focusing on being with family, doing the more traditional thing.
Yes, I agree. But some good choices there. You can't go wrong with a lot of these cities, and you get good deals.
Yeah.
I saw that, especially for the winter. Like I said, we talked about my trip I have come up in December. We went to a cold place where most people are going tropical. We decided we want to go see
Yeah,
something cold because we don't ever see it.
exactly. Oh, it's
So
great.
there we go.
Great. And places like Niagara Falls. Oh my gosh. I love that like Niagara Falls was also on this
Which I've
list.
never seen
Like,
in Santa Fe. We met some great people from Santa Fe. Like just a lot of
so
cool different cities and small towns that you can go visit that usually are not on the radar that have some good savings during this time. So
yeah.
make sure to check it out. But for winter travel inspiration, where are some again similar ones? Las Vegas, New York, London, Orlando, and Cancun again. So
It's crazy. Orlando's like always the top of the list. I mean, there's always a good time for Disney World. And yeah, it's very it's cool. It's
Yep.
cool to see. I mean, these are
Good to
kind
see
of
you,
like,
Jeremy.
good afternoon, Jeremy.
But I would say if you're going to Orlando, you got you're gonna have some new theme parks coming up, right?
Okay.
So Orlando's building something brand new. Universal's new Epic Universe is coming out in 2025. So that has
Uh-huh.
already been announced. So I think you'll see a lot of people traveling there for the opening of what they've got there, the first new theme park in many, many years.
Yeah, it's good. Always interesting to see how they're growing and doing something a little bit different. And the prices for just going to all of these
Oh,
theme
it's
parks.
bananas.
Yeah, totally. All right. Am excited for this next topic here. Why I'm so excited is because so for those that might have missed the beginning part of this, Steve and I just saw each other in person. We were speaking together, well, separate but together. We were at the same event in San Diego. So super easy drive for me. Steve had to fly over to my neck of the woods, and so it was like tables were turned. Steve was doing
Yes.
the heavy duty. Yeah. Wow. Jeez. Wow.
And they changed the clocks on me too. So the same day I was
Yeah,
traveling.
exactly.
Yeah.
They changed the time. Oh my gosh. And then Steve ended up on the West Coast. But so, Steve, how was this travel experience for you?
Well, I have a couple things going on here that I want to talk about.
Okay,
Okay.
please.
I'm not going to
Take
rant. There's just a
control.
couple things. First, I don't travel as much as you do, but when I do, I like to use my Centurion Lounge access for American
Sure.
Express, right? You spend a lot of money. I think there's like different levels of spend to get in there now, and they're
Yep.
trying to like thin out the crowd of people there.
Yep.
First one in Miami, got all excited. I'm gonna have my meal, gonna be ready before I fly. I couldn't get in. The line was so long that it didn't give me enough time. They put me on a wait, and I wasn't gonna be able to get in. So I couldn't get into the one in Miami. So I said, you know what? No problem. I'll go sit down and I'll go to the one in Phoenix. I was connecting, so I flew to Phoenix. Landed in Phoenix. Couldn't get into that one. It was another 25-minute wait. I said, I'm waiting this time. I'm getting my free cookie or whatever they're gonna give me in there. And then when I got in, it was packed. It was not being kept clean.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was just not a good experience. So for American Express, charge a lot of money for these platinum cards. Yes, you get a
Yeah.
lot of great stuff, but that's something that I think needs some work, especially for the hospitality side of it, because it did not feel very
Elevated.
elevated, more transactional, we'll say, right? Like get
Okay.
you in, get you out. So that was one part. And
Yeah.
then there's some good karma on the planes. I'll give some positives. How about that?
Okay. Yes. Yes. Please share this experience because this is good.
Yeah. So I was flying the next flight. So the one from Miami to Phoenix was a long flight. It's I
Yeah.
think 5-hour flight.
Yeah.
I specifically chose an aisle seat because I would like to have access to be able to walk around
Get
or
up,
use
move. Yeah.
whatever I need to do. I
Makes
got to
sense.
my seat and there was an elderly gentleman there in my seat. And I said, "Oh, sir, this is my seat." And he was sitting next to his elderly wife, who they had bought separate tickets late, and they really wanted to sit together. And everyone's staring at me because he was saying it loud. And I said, "You know what? I'm going to do the right thing. Yes, you can sit here. Where's your seat?" It was a middle seat. All right, so middle seats are a little bit of a challenge. I sit down. Good karma. I put that out there. And then I sit down in between two friends. And so I was like, "Oh, would you guys like to sit next to each other?" It's like, "No, I want the aisle and she wants the window." And then they proceeded to hand Starbucks cups over each other to them and hand snacks to each other, talk
No.
about their cruise that they were on and the guys that they had been talking to. And I just started, should I jump into this conversation and give my opinions as to what was going on? And so finally, I think they just like simmered down, realizing that they were talking over me because I started to jump in, like, "Oh, how was that cruise? Was it fun?"
Oh,
Like,
wait, you actually jumped in?
oh, I jumped in. So, would you like
Yeah,
me to
you
hold your
should.
Starbucks cup for you? Like, as they were passing it. So it's just
Yeah, because
interesting
they
that,
weren't getting it. That's
yes. So that was
yeah.
that. And then on the way back, we'll talk about those things, but then something good happened on the way back.
Oh, what happened
Again,
on the way back?
a mom and her
Yeah.
young son got on late. They didn't speak any English, and there was not Spanish either. So I was trying to see if I could help them. The son, probably 4 years old, had a different seat 4 aisles up than the mom, and no one would move for them. But they put them on the plane, and so finally, a wife told her husband, like, "Please stand up. Let's get these kids to sit next to each other with the mom."
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
got
of
up and
course.
moved. He moved. Then they came on the plane, the airline, to these
Yeah.
two people now sitting next to each other. and say, hey, the plane is overweight. We need to take you two off because you're the last two. So the kid and the mom got taken off the plane, right?
Stop.
Yes. So this is what happened. They left. So then the husband comes back to his seat after having moved, gets back to his seat. And then 3 minutes later, the airline brings the family back and says, no, we made a mistake. They can get on the plane. And the husband looked at his wife. He's like, all right, I'll get up one more time. So everyone started clapping for him, saying he was such a good guy because we all were watching this. And then he
Oh
gave
my,
a little thumbs up of helping him. And then an old lady next to him was like, you know what? I don't mind sitting by myself next to that window. You could sit next to your wife. So the old lady moved and got him back sitting next to his wife. So all
oh
that
my
unfolded
gosh.
in front of me, which was awesome to see.
That talk about like musical chairs.
Yeah. And I have one more on that same flight. You ready? And I'm done. And then we can talk
No,
about it.
no, keep it
So
going.
as that we were delayed because of all this happening on and off.
Yeah, yeah.
They put the, all right, everyone get in your seats, put your seatbelt on. We're about to take off. So engines start moving. A lady stands up and goes into the bathroom. And so they
Okay.
announce, get back in your seat nicely. She then goes into the bathroom and said, we cannot take off because someone is in the restroom. We are not allowed to take off. So everyone starts booing. The stewardess goes up to the door because she's in there for a while, starts banging on the door loud. Open up the door. Get in your seat. And everyone's booing. And then this lady comes out screaming like, I needed to go to the bathroom. And everyone's booing her. And then she gets in her seat. And then we took off. So that was my travel experience. I love it. Get me on the private plane, people. Let's
Oh
go.
my God.
Yeah.
Okay, so you definitely had quite, I mean, these are all versions of things that I have seen, but you had quite the experience.
It was awesome. It was so good.
I would so that's interesting. I mean, I'm always pretty mindful, like if it comes time to moving to so that people can sit together. I mean, half the time I'm like fine about
Yeah.
it, but that is a tough one to swallow. Like if it's like the exact same thing, like okay, it's an aisle for an aisle. I
Yeah, no
mean,
problem.
or a window for a window, sure. But once it starts being like a aisle for a middle seat, oh, but wait, we have to take a minute and talk about the experience that you had because I had a similar experience where I got stuck in a middle seat between two people that knew each other, and they were actually a couple. And I also was like, "Do you guys want to sit together?" And they're like, "No, this is by design." And I'm
So
just like,
weird.
I that I do not if I'm traveling with somebody, um, either I or they take the middle seat so we can sit together. Like we would
Yeah.
never have a stranger in the middle of us. And if we did, you better believe it, we would not be talking over them. Like that's crazy to me.
It was bananas. Yeah.
That is crazy. So in my case, this was a couple, and I asked, and I know this is by design, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then they ended up both falling asleep, and like the one guy's like the guy's like snoring next to me, and then she's over here, and I'm just I actually felt like I was in bed between them. I was like, this is very personal, and I am not, and I just sat there like this the whole time because I'm like, this is horrible.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know why people do that. That was just nope.
Crazy. So a
Nope.
lot of action on the planes. Maybe because I was on a certain airline. It's not your favorite airline. I was not booked on your favorite airline. So I was booked on the other. We won't give any hate to anybody. It's not their fault.
No, I will say this, that there is, we had talked about this a couple weeks ago, is like you have the people that are not as, not as well traveled. And so you can definitely tell when it's amateur hour or when it's people who like, hey, they travel more frequently.
Mhm.
And but people that travel more frequently are more willing to spend a little bit more for, and you get what you pay for is what it is. Like, I mean, it is kind of
Yeah. I was
what
looking
I
at
think.
those first class seats. I'm like, all right, next time. These guys got it easy.
Yeah. Yeah. Whew, it is wild out there in the airways. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
So thank you for letting me share my stories with you all.
No,
Hopefully
I
it didn't
thought it was
scare
great.
anybody off from traveling. I still enjoyed my time in San Diego and staying at the Rancho Bernardo Inn, my friend's hotel. I got to give him a shout out. So go
Yes.
see Jamie Lemon. James Lemon is the general manager there at the Rancho Bernardo Inn. They did a great job. And I really enjoyed San Diego, actually. So I'm glad I made it
Oh,
over there.
yeah, yeah. I mean, this is a beautiful historic property. I always love when you get to go to one of, the historic hotels of America, and they're part of that. Where did you go in San Diego?
I had 3 hours And I went
Yeah.
down to the Gaslamp district in downtown.
Okay.
Walked
That's,
around, saw some bars, restaurants, shops. Very
yeah.
cool. Saw the big warship they had out there too.
Yep.
So I got to say I've been there, and then shot back up to the resort because I had dinner with some friends there that were in
Did you get
town.
to drive through Balboa or no?
No,
Balboa
there was
Pier.
too much traffic. I would have made back, but
Yeah.
he agreed. The
Yeah,
driver
yeah,
said that would have been very pretty to see.
yeah.
So
That would have been
the
cool to see
extra.
because you could kind of do it on the way. But yes, that traffic. Welcome to that Southern California traffic. But anyway,
Yeah,
any big city has traffic.
yeah.
So let's shift gears to our real-time recap. Be mindful of the time here. Anything that was standout for you?
Well, what I will say is that I'm not going to talk about the airlines. I thought I could, and we gave this story. I want to give a shout out to that husband for going up and down a couple times, but really,
Yeah, yeah,
I want to give a shout out to all the hardworking people at these historic inns and bed and breakfasts because I really didn't know much about it, but after spending some time with them and learning more about their places, it's just amazing what they're doing because a lot of them are family owned. It's like a family affair, and they put all their time and energy into these places. So if you have the chance, make sure to stay at some of them. I'm going to add them now to my list because I'm always staying in bigger hotels, right? As usually what I'm
Yeah.
doing right now. So I'm going to start to transition a little bit and give them some love because there are some great ones out there.
Love that. Okay, my real-time recap. I'm laughing. You're gonna die.
I
Because
think I
listen,
know.
it's about the candle place. Okay, so for those that follow me on Instagram, you might have seen that a couple weeks ago, I was in Carlsbad, and Carlsbad is not too far away from where we were at the Rancho Bernardo Inn, just outside of San Diego. And I live in Los Angeles. It's a solid, we'll just say it's a solid 2 hours to that neck of the woods, that area, maybe 1.5, but generally closer to 2 hours. And I made this candle in this candle bar like a couple weeks ago, and it's home at my house here. And I'm like, man, that smells good. Man. So I like went online, tried to see if I could like order one or like be like, hey, can you make one for me? Send it to me. No. And then I'm like, man, I got to figure out time to get down there. I was like, there's no way I'm driving 2 hours to go make some candles. Like I'm making them. I'm not even just like, like buying them. So figured out, oh my gosh, I'm going to be there. It was super convenient. It was like basically as soon as I got off the highway, I could go right and get to the candle bar or go left and get to the Rancho Bernardo Inn. So I'm like, meant to be. So I leave, I say bye to Steve, and I go to this candle bar and I walk in. And as soon as I walk in, the girl was like, you were just here a couple weeks ago. And I'm just dying because I was there with a friend of mine and we had like something, we were filming a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, no, I love this. And so I ended up creating 5 candles. We had such a fun time. We were laughing. She had me like all packed up to like to basically continue on my drive home. But it was just this cute moment that it's like it's a candle bar, and like to go and we just had this wonderful conversation. Shout out to Kaylee. She was great. She was there. She's the one that was working, but it's the Carlsbad Candle Bar. You can make your own candles. They smell delightful. Mine smells exceptionally delightful. And it was just a cute, like little treat in the afternoon. But again, like taking like a unusual business concept and really creating a fun experience out of it. So
Where are the candles?
What?
I thought you would definitely be showing it today.
Oh, I should. No, I don't have any of them up here. They're downstairs. But they're super cute. And you get to add like stones and stuff, whatever. Anyway, I made 5.
Amazing candles. This
I
was the talk of the town among the inn owners during lunch of they're going to add candle making to all of their properties.
Honestly, it's a great thing. Like it's a great option. It doesn't cost that much. You just have to get like people should not be sleeping on making everybody loves a candle. Okay. Everybody loves a candle.
A good candle for sure.
Yeah, especially I do. So yeah. So that was my little real-time recap. Candle making a success. Oh my gosh. Evermore, by the way, it was the Evermore Resort. I don't know. That was shared here on the comments. That we're talking about the gong in, gong out.
No.
No, that was something else?
Yes.
Okay, never
mind. Evermore's in Orlando, a great new resort.
Never mind. Sorry.
Well, listen, a great show.
Yeah, right? Do we want to do our hospitality quote?
Oh, yeah, the hospitality quote. That's true. Let's keep going. I forgot.
Yeah,
I'm all discombobulated. I'm still not recovered from travel.
Perfect. No, it's fine. A soul of hospitality and a heart of humanity is a house of love, peace, freedom, liberty, and justice. Figured
Wow.
that would be an appropriate quote this
I like
time
it.
of year.
I think so. But I like that quote. A soul of hospitality. And I think that can be used anywhere, not just in, like we said, it can be used anywhere. Just holding the door open for someone, saying good morning for somebody, trying to help somebody else, like we saw on the plane, right? Like these are the things that I love about hospitality, that if you've gone through it and you really believe it, it's just make the world a better place. So treat someone nicely today, show them some hospitality. And I love that.
Exactly. Sprinkle a little hospitality out there. So, and it will come back to you, which we always love.
I do.
So cool. Well, this was a fun show.
It was a great show. I think we need to work on a tagline for signing off. We need to work on something like keep traveling, friends, or we need something at the end here.
Travel on. No.
Travel on, and we'll see you next week.
I have it. Gong out.
Gong out.
It's a good one. Yeah, we should do this at the same time. So
ready? We'll see you next week.
Oh, goodness.